Hi Deb, it's Katelyn. I hope you had a great Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I just want to let you know that we have some people here helping us put a floor in downstairs in our house. And so if you hear some hammering or some talking or door slamming, that's because our house is under construction. So I just wanted to let you know that was going on. And so let's get started with your images. You had some really great questions about some shots, and about the dress shot. I think one thing to pay attention to is that for some reason our eyes are always drawn to the most um, to the part closest to the head. Okay, so when I look at this image, I look to right here to see if it's in focus for some reason. I don't know why, but a lot of people look for um, the top of the dress to tell whether or not the image is really tack sharp or not. And so I've learned in the last 4 years that I try to focus on the top of the dress, and I allow this part to fade out of focus. Just so people, when you look at a normal portrait, people look at the eyes, the very first thing. Even if you don't think about it, like naturally we look at the eyes to make sure that an image is in focus. And so when I look at this dress shot, I think, oh, it's pretty. And then I look here and I'm like, oh, but it's not in focus. So that's really personal preference. I'm not saying that's a rule because I don't even know if it's a rule. But I would suggest trying to focus on the main detailed area, which would be up here, and then letting this fade out of focus. So as far as making a dress fluffy, I tend to shoot dresses straight on for the most part. I don't do a lot of angles from below. And so when you shoot a dress straight on, you don't notice much of that dip there because you're shooting right straight at it. So, every dress is very different. I've had some dresses that photograph so well without having a body in it. And then I've had some that are like this, that sag a little bit, and you just have to work with it. I don't have any tricks, but I do know that shooting straight on tends to help, and it doesn't put as much emphasis on it. Something I would suggest for you would be, obviously there's like a window here and there's natural light coming in, but then there's an overhead light here that's creating all of the yellow highlights within the shadows of the dress. So I always try to shoot indoors with one source of light, because if you're shooting indoors with a window light and with a tungsten light on in the room, your camera doesn't know how to adjust for that, and so you're going to end up with a blue side of the dress here and a yellow side of the dress here. If that is unavoidable, you can't turn this overhead light off, then the way to fix that would be just to take out some of the yellows here and to get rid of those highlights. So if you can see me changing, if you look on the dress right now, you can see me taking that yellow out. So that's something to think about. Another way to get rid of the blue highlights from the window would be to just desaturate, use a desaturating brush just a little bit. And since it's a white dress, you can take off some of that color by just desaturating it. So that's something to think about, and I think you will really find that you have a lot better color when you just shoot with one light or one light source, because your camera will be able to focus and get correct white balance for just that type of light. So let's keep going. I like this shot a lot. It's really cool with the red wall. It's interesting because I can tell she's got a little bit of light here, and then she kind of fades off, so her arm and the shadows under here are a little bit red. But other than that, I think it's a beautiful image, and I think I'm sure she's really happy with it. So if you wanted to make sure that her skin didn't look too oversaturated, you can do the same thing. You just kind of come in, desaturate the brush a little bit in Lightroom, and you can just tone it down. Now, I wouldn't do it very much. Maybe like 12 would be okay. You can just kind of take the red out. I do think this is a great image. I would maybe, depending on what it looked like, backed up a little bit so you could see more of her arm, but it could be that you were in a tight space and that wasn't possible. So I think this is wonderful. I think you did a great job handling the location you had to shoot in. If you wanted to crop it a little bit tighter, you could, just to put her in more of this upper quadrant here. Her dress is really well exposed. I just think it's a beautiful, overall beautiful image. So let's look at this. Normally when I do detail shots, I try to shoot detail shots as if uh, they were in a magazine. And if you're in a magazine, you're probably not going to see an image like this. It's not because it's a bad image. It's not. It's really pretty. But when you shoot editorially, you shoot differently. And so a lot of people have brides lift up their dress just a little bit, or sit on the bench and cross their legs and lift up the dress, and they focus on the boots. So when I looked at this picture, um, I noticed the boots, but it wasn't like that. I mean, they are obviously the center of attention for this picture. So if you just wanted a detail shot, I would do it a little differently. I would try to, just focus on the boots and only have her blurry in the background, crop underneath the nose so that there are no eyes in the picture. Because once there are eyes in the picture, you automatically think the picture's about the person. So if you want a shoe shot, it's better to just do the shoes and crop her from under. Let's see if I can show you. So if you were just doing a shoe shot, it would be better to shoot it somewhat like that, because the emphasis is on the shoes. You don't pay attention to them because you can't see their eyes. But if you just wanted a shot that highlighted the shoes but was still a portrait, this would be a good pose, but I wouldn't have her look at you, and I wouldn't shoot at this angle just because it's the most unflattering angle you can shoot a woman. And the reason I say that is because I can't zoom in for some reason. You're getting her double chin right here, and she's not a large girl, and so she's probably, not going to love her chin there. And so when you shoot down below, or have her look down from an angle like that, it's very hard to make a bride look good, and it's hard to make her look relaxed. I do agree with you that the background's really busy. It's hard to focus on them when you have, 3 plants, a harp, and a crazy line and stairs. So I think, this shot would be better with a plain background so you can focus on them. And just a different pose for her. Maybe even as little as taking her head and have her. I normally tell people in a pose like this, okay, I'm going to have you look at his elbow. You're just going to look down at his elbow right here. So she would turn her head and look down here instead of straining to look at you. So that's something to think about. I think the quality of the image is great. That there's not a lot of grain. They're well exposed. It's just the posing and the location of the shot that may need a little bit of rethinking, next time you're in a similar situation. And I just did a blog post actually about, let me show you, about details, shooting accessories, and it basically just talks about how when you shoot accessories and you're focusing on one main part, you want to get rid of anything that could be a distraction. So I cut out the eyes when I'm doing bouquet shots or boutonniere shots because that's what I see in magazines. I don't see people's eyes barely. I mean, her eye is there, but that's the only person out of all this. You look at this image and you think, oh, that's a bouquet shot. It's not supposed to be focused on them. And so when it comes to shoes and jewelry and any shot like that, it's the same way. So that might be a post. It's under my Ask Anything category. That might be helpful for you later. So let's talk about this. So if you're in a situation, or if I was in this situation, I would set up an off-camera flash. You only need one, and I would set it up to where it flows and hits the sides of their faces to illuminate them from one direction. It kind of plays a part, kind of like the headlights would, and you can make really beautiful portraits. If you follow Justin and Mary Morantz, they're photographers based out of Connecticut, and they teach a lot about this, and they do a great job. So when you use off-camera flash, you can expose for them and also pick up some of the color in the sky so that you don't have to try to brighten it yourself. I can tell that you brightened here, and that's why you have so much noise and a lot of pixels, just because the image is kind of damaged right here because it's not meant to be that bright. I know you're trying to see the sky, and I totally understand that. So if I was looking at this, I would say let's go ahead and desaturate some of the dress, take out some of those bright whites, and you've probably already done this a little bit, just to help out. And then I would also do some noise reduction in Lightroom. Noise reduction just takes all the pixels that are caused by noise and high ISO and just kind of smooths it together a little bit. So if you ran into this situation again, I would look into using an off-camera flash, because that would put even light on them. It wouldn't overexpose the bottom of her dress like car lights would, um, and you would have a much better, more professional image. So they are troopers for climbing in that snow. You have really great clients to do that for them. And as you know, if a client does something crazy like that, we got to make sure they have really great images. So another little thing that you could change would be to make sure that you get all of her dress, so it doesn't look like it's an accident that, you know, they're not all the way in the shot. So just cropping out so that you can see all of her dress, and make sure it looks like a really great portrait. So I think for what you had to deal with and not having an off-camera flash setup, using the headlights was your best option. So way to go for being creative. And I think you did a great job. I really do. So I hope this is helpful, and check out that site on my blog about detail shooting, and hopefully that's helpful. So have a happy new year, and thank you so much for being a part of this. I hope my videos have just helped you learn a few things, and that you can take what I've said and just maybe transfer it to all of your shoots for 2013, and just really see a lot of growth. And so thanks for being a part of this, Deb, and I will hopefully meet you one day. Talk to you later. Bye.